Hey, welcome back. This is Nick Basket. I'm the editor-in-chief over at bartalks.net, an online resource for the coffee and cocoa community. And I am also the person that does these videos. So I think if you are watching these back-to-back, if you just like to binge watch my videos, then get a life. But also you'll notice I'm wearing the same t-shirt. This, by the way, if you have been doing that, you'll know I dislocated. Dislocated isn't the right word. It's just it come off. My collarbones come off on a motorcycle accident, and then you start to realize there's things that you take for granted that you can't do very easily anymore, like getting dressed. So I either have to ask someone to help me get dressed, which wasn't working out so well for me or for the people, and so you work out. Like new ways. So I thought for a while, for a few days, I was wearing the same t-shirt. I got to be honest with you. This is a new t-shirt because I've discovered a new technique of, there it is, goes again. A new technique of getting my arms into the t-shirt, and it involves sort of prostrating myself on the bed, kind of half on the bed, half on the floor with a certain angle. But anyway, so welcome to the Coffee Channel. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about the 2-year review. I'm going to say 2 years because it's been roughly there. Don't go look it up because it might not be 2 years. It might be like 1 year and 9 months, or it might be more than 2 years. I don't know. Well, I've had a Rocket R58, and I bought it from Carvetii. Sorry, it's quite hot. Carvetii over in that way in England. Somewhere north-ish, and they've been very helpful. I've actually never needed to call their support since after it arrived. Did have one issue, and if you want to actually go and take a look at my 2-month review, it'll cover some of the setup issues that I had with it. One in particular, which was that the water wasn't recognizing the water in the water tank, and that was resolved by its local distributor, and Carvetii got involved in helping me do that. Was fantastic. So, but other than that, if you want to go back and take a look at sort of my opinions and views of getting it set up and what I thought about it, and go look at that video. This is going to be I was going to say the top 5 things I love and the top 5 things I don't love about the Rocket, but then I thought, why does everyone do like 5? What happens if there's only 4 and you have to like hunt for the 5th? Or what happens if there's 7? So I just wrote down an honest list of what I like and what I don't like. And on what I like or love, I don't know. Is it better to say like or love? Some things I like, some things I love actually. There's 7.5. And of the don't likes, there's 5. So obviously the likes are winning. Would I buy this machine again? Tune in at the end somewhere. I'll drop that in somewhere. So you have to watch the whole thing. Get my ratings up. Okay, so I'm gonna take my glasses off because I can't see me in the thing but then I can't read the notes. I think the notes are probably more important. So okay. What do I love? Number 1, you know what the most important thing is? Does it make good coffee? And I thought about this, because it's all very subjective, isn't it? I mean, I've got friends that sort of say that their Nespresso machine makes great coffee. Ever since I've had an espresso, I understand what good coffee is about. Someone literally said that to me, almost, something like that, 2 days ago. And I thought, So, but it makes, so I don't want to say it makes like amazing coffee because it just depends on what you're used to. But I would say that it doesn't disappoint. So notice the legal side of me coming across here. It doesn't disappoint. For the money that you spend, you're not going to say, I expected more. You're going to get great coffee that's going to meet or exceed your expectations as long as you're a reasonable person spending this amount of money. God, that sounds very legal, doesn't it?
That can't be legal.
Maybe I should just say it makes good coffee. Like it does. It makes good coffee, all right? There we go. Put that to bed. Number 2, things that I really like about it. Actually, this is going to go into the love category. Gets a hug. Is that it's quiet. And that's the rotary pump. So anything with a rotary pump, I imagine, is going to be pretty quiet. And this is also quiet. And having come from a machine that had a, like the Gaggia Classic or whatever, had a vibration pump, it ruins your morning. For me, anyway, because I get up very early and I pad around. And one of the things I do now is I have nothing on.
Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
And I don't put the news on. I don't listen to anything. I pad around on my bare feet in my kitchen, and it's all very zen and And then, if you're going with the grinder in the machine, it's just not right. So quiet is actually really important for me. I don't care about the other people in the house. That's their lookout. I want to live here. It's my rules. I want to make a noise. I'll make a noise. I want to turn the stereo on at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm turning the stereo on at 4 o'clock in the morning. But it's for me. I don't want to hear that noise first thing in the morning. Okay, number 3. This is a love too. The fact that you can plumb it in. And the fact that you can change between plumb and tank with the menu. But anyway, the plumbing in is the main thing. And again, that's the rotary pump, I guess. But before, I had a plumbed-in machine, and I was constantly filling up the tank and then running out halfway through shots and, always getting that tank anxiety, the water anxiety. Better check my tank. Ooh, have a little look in there. Does it need a bit more? I think that's okay. I better go and put a bit more in there. And then, of course, all the water treatment that you have to do in the external tank, depending on how you're doing it. When you're making your water, you have to treat that water for the coffee. So I would have like a little filter rejug system, and I'd have to remember how often I'd have to change the filter, special coffee filter. I used the peak water filter system before. And you have to remember how long the filter had been in there and then change that out and always make sure they had water. It was all just a faff. Now I've got what have I got? Not a Brita. I've got a system. God, they're going to be so annoyed at me, this company. But anyway, I've got a system, an inline filter under the sink, especially made for coffee. That Adrian, who's does all the work for me setting this up. And by the way, I'll put a link to his company below, because if you're in the UK, he does all the coffee shop maintenance for the machines and things. And he's such an amazing guy, such a sweet guy. And he knows his machines. And so he set that whole thing up for me. And he came around and he tested the water from the taps, made sure it was all and then get the whole thing set up. It was just fantastic. And now I don't think about anything. I always got the right water. I don't have to think about the tank. It's just another whole element, another whole load that I had to think about before that I just don't give anything. I haven't thought about this since I've done this video. I mean, not since I've done this video, but literally since it's been installed to the time that I've done this video, which has been about a year, I have not thought about water for the system. It just doesn't cross my mind, which is wonderful. Number 4, and this is also a love. I love the control panel, which is a weird thing for me because it was the one thing I really didn't like when I looked at the spec sheets and I looked at the pictures online. Did not like that control. It's sitting off the side. What were they thinking? It should be integrated, blah, 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 blah. Now I love it. I don't want it done any other way. I don't want to see it use another machine that's tried to squeeze, I don't know. Anyway, I like the touchy panel. I like the fact that it's very easy to use. I like the fact that it's never gone wrong, but I always thought that was going to go wrong. It's never gone wrong for me. I like how simple it is. I like that it's in color for some reason. I like that I can turn the boiler off, the second boiler, because I don't steam, I don't make milk. So for me, just get the espresso boiler going. I like the fact that I can change the temperature so easily on the panel. Come to that in a second. And just everything on there. I can switch it between water, tank water, and mains water. It's just a really well thought out system. I don't think they've ever updated it. I don't think they need to update it. It comes on automatically twice a day, breakfast and lunch. And brilliantly well done, well implemented, well executed. Well done, Rocket. Number 5, this is a weird one because a lot of people, especially some of the people who've contacted me in the past, say, hey, Nick, what machine should I buy? This is my budget, whatever. I say to them, well, can you get support? for that machine in your country or in your region. And I thought, I hadn't even thought about support. It's like, yeah, you got to think about support, because if something goes wrong with that machine, or it arrives and it just doesn't work as you expect, or you need some help with it, who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters, that's for sure.
Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters.
So you got to have somebody local who's going to take care of that machine for you. And for me, the Rocket was just really well supported, and they're sold all over the place here in the UK. There's just I think there's a lot of parts for it. There's a lot of support for it. There's a lot of community knowledge around it. So I do like that element about it. That was number 5. Okay, number 6. Well, reliable and low cost. I mean, I've seen some people do on their channel, how much does this machine cost me over the year? And they add up as like $500 or something. And I'm like, wow. I've had mine 2 years, and so far I've spent nothing. Yeah, that's right. And now probably you can say you should have spent some money to maintain this. I am planning to call Adrian to come around and descale it, and to just, give it a bit of lick and polish and whatever he needs to do. There are actually a couple of bits and pieces that that's going to come on the don't like so much. So it's not perfect, but there's nothing stopping it from making coffee every morning in 2 years. So I've spent no money on it. So I like the fact that it's just reliable. It's a tank. Number 7. So I said 7.5. So this is the last full point I'm going to get across, which is the drip tray. Almost didn't catch this. And I was thinking about, is there anything else that I love? Because again, I don't want to make an artificial number on the list, but I thought to myself, I've been looking at other machines and the reviews on other machines, and a number of things people say is like, the trouble is the drip tray, it's the wrong angle, it doesn't connect properly, and there's all these different machines seem to have these weird drip tray problems. And I remember with my Gaggia, I had a problem with the drip tray too, and I thought to myself, wow, I've never even thought about the drip tray on the Rocket, and that's a positive. I've never thought about the drip tray for a reason, because it's never given me an issue. It's never really overflown, because it's a huge, it's got a big capacity. It clicks in and clicks out magnetically. It's a very satisfying kind of click in, click out. Really, really good. So probably put that down to simply because I think the competition sort of shoot themselves in the foot a few times over that particular topic. And then the final one, I put 7.5 because I can't really vouch. I sort of just, the times that I use it is the steam pressure. So for those of you that are making steam drinks, you'll want to know, like, well, what's that part like? So the times I've used it for guests and things, it's great. Like it's got a dedicated boiler. As you imagine, you set the temperature for whatever you like. And you can have it come on and off. Again, you can set the timing on it. And the pressure I had was fine. I haven't made back-to-back. I mean, this is why I don't get a half, because realistically, you probably need somebody who makes milky drinks day in, day out to give you a better review on that. But from what I've heard and from my experience, it's a good steam wand. I don't think it's cold touch or cool touch, but it's a good steam wand, and it is I wouldn't say it's dry. You have to, like most of them, you have to let a little bit of the water out first. After that, it's dry steam, but it is very strong steam, and you get 2 tips. You get the 2 and the 4 hole tips in the case, in the pack when you buy it. So got that going for it. Okay, let's talk about some things I don't really like about it. And I'm going to start with the QA, because I think this really lets the company down. By QA, I mean quality assurance. I'm not going to say build quality, because the materials they've chosen are quality materials. They just don't seem to always be put together and checked in with as much diligence as I would hope or would like. The first example of that, of course, is the fact that when it arrived, the water tank sensor hadn't lined up with the water tank. As a consequence, when I filled with water, it wasn't recognizing there was any water in the tank. And that took the importer to actually pull the whole thing apart And it took him probably half an hour to work out that there was some screws at the bottom that needed to be tightened so that the torque was a little bit different, and the angle would come in a bit different, and then the whole thing would then fit together. But you shouldn't have to do that. That's a bit silly, really, isn't it? And the next thing I've noticed on the build quality is the handles on the top. There's like a rail that goes on the top where the drip tray is. And I mean, that rail's strong. I mean, we picked it up by those. In fact, I was told by the importer you could pick it up by the rails. Other people said to me, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. He didn't seem to know what he's talking about." But I have noticed, even though I've not been picking it up, obviously it's sitting there, hasn't done anything. Somehow, the left rail has come loose, and the screws, I guess, are somehow inside. So I'm probably going to have to take the whole thing apart to find the screws to tighten on the inside that'll pull it back down. And that's kind of annoying. So I'm not going to do that, obviously, because that would take effort. But also I'm thinking when I get Adrian around to descale it, I'll say, "Oh, by the way, Adrian, could you just..." And I'll get that for free. So there's that. Also, something Adrian spotted when he did the plumbing in for me is he pointed out that there's a drip coming from underneath. Now, not sure if this is coming from one of the like a leaky hose, or if water had been coming down from the tank and had been splashing over the side a little bit and coming through. But it's possible that there's a leak of some kind underneath the machine, because where you look under there, you can see that water had been dripping onto the surface. Now, I've got a pretty crappy kind of... I mean, I moved here about a year ago. We're planning to redo the kitchen and put a wood surface in. Right now I've got kind of a crappy, Formica or something surface, and so I don't care. But if that had been my nice wood surface and it had stained it permanently, I would not be a happy bunny. So QA is the first thing that I don't really like about the Rocket, and it's not. I don't think it's particularly necessary to the R58. I suspect if you've got QA issues, you'll have QA issues with every Rocket. I'm going to just go out there and say that. I don't really like the shot lever, the thing that you pull up to run the shot. I love sort of the concept of it, the thought of it, but the implementation's been done badly. It squeaks a little bit, there's a little bit of friction, but the most annoying thing is you have to get it up like a quarter of the way-ish, and then the pre-infusion will start. But of course you don't know, there's no pump. It's just a mains pressure pre-infusion. So you have no idea at what stage. So if you lift it up this much, no water. 2 millimeters more, now the water's coming. Another couple of millimeters, the pump will start. And you're just thinking, well, why do I have to guess? I mean, what idiot thought that was a good system?
You, sir, are an idiot.
And I think I've seen this on other places as well. Just put a little clicky thing. If you can't think about how to make a clicky thing, a thing that just goes click when you're getting the pre-infusion coming out, and then another click when the pump comes on, or you don't even need a click because the pump's coming, you're going to know it. But just a nice little move it up, click. Oh, okay, great, pre-infusion, wonderful. How hard could it have been? They just haven't thought it through. That annoys me because that's just laziness, intransigence, maybe, I don't know. So there's that. QA. Talked about QA. Oh God, actually QA was number 3. I don't know. I did that number 1. Number 1, my biggest problem with it, actually, not the QA. Biggest problem with it is how dirty it gets and how difficult parts of it are to clean. So I've given up. Obviously, it's not worth it. But it splashes water when you take the lever down. And you got the solenoid valve pushes the pressure out, sucks it out the top of the puck, at the top of the basket, and then pushes it into the drip tray. Why they don't make those things come down just a little bit further so that it fits into the drip tray? And everyone seems to make these things. There must be a reason. Everyone seems to make them so that they're like hover above the drip tray, and then as the water comes out, it goes push, and it splashes dirty coffee water all over your machine. And again, man on the moon, but we can't fix that problem. I don't understand it. Like, it's just beyond me. Like, I'm going to meet somebody one day at a coffee shop. I'm going to ask him that from a manufacturer. And he's going to go, blah, 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 blah. And I'll go, oh, okay. Obviously, I'm an idiot for even thinking that you could do that. But until someone enlightens me, I sort of feel like, that everyone's all wrong. And I'm the only one that understands that the thing should just go down an extra 2 millimeters or a centimeter and not splash all over the machine. Especially, by the way, Rocket, hello, put your logo thing there and a square thing that catches all the bits of dirty coffee in every little corner that you just can't clean, because you've got to get around the edges. And by the way, don't try and do it when the machine's still hot, which is all the time, for whatever reason, that I decide I want to clean my machine, is when it's on and it's hot. And then you're like, oof, ouch, oof, ooh, ow, 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 ow. And you're doing it like that, which is like stupid. So you wait till the machine's off, and then you forget to clean it until the next day when it's on again. And then it just goes on and on and on like this. The dials all get covered in coffee, and the things get covered in coffee. And when you do get around to cleaning it, even you use like the special cleaning stuff with the chrome cleaning kit, you just can't get, like, you'll get parts of it clean, the big parts that you can get out and you can wipe, they'll go clean. But all the little nooks and crannies in the corners, they're dirty. They're going to always be dirty. So, get used to it. If you want one of these machines, it's going to be dirty. That's what it is. It's going to be dirty. So setting the temperature on it is something. I got to promise somebody to go somewhere. So setting the temperature on an E61 machine is kind of a bit of a weird thing. Ideally, you'd want the PID to be in the group head, so you know what the temperature is at the group, and not at the boiler. But it kind of doesn't work that way. So when you change the temperature on the panel, you go, hey, it's 92. What you're saying is, I'm telling you, machine, that I would love to have a coffee at 92 degrees. And it goes, okay, you'd love to have a coffee at 92. Doesn't mean you're going to get the coffee at 92 degrees. It just is understanding your instructions. That's what you want. And maybe if you were to do a few flushes or to make a few coffees, at some point it would go to 92. But when? Yes, I know you can get the little stickers and you can get different things you can put in the group head that show the temperature. My point is that why do I have to go off to a third, to a third party, aftermarket system and put stickers on my group head or something? I get it. I really do, about the simplicity and the cost. And so maybe this is just some things you give up for the cost. And, hey, Nick, you want exact temperature, go for a saturated group head. Maybe that's just the answer. But since it's my video and I can say what I like,
I will talk to you however I damn well please.
I'm saying that you set the temperature to whatever it is. When you change it, don't expect the change to be instant. And so if I'm making a coffee and I think to myself, this would actually benefit from being a bit lower temperature, for an example, I can't just change the temperature and expect that to have a result. And that's just a little frustrating. And I've written number 5. I can't read my notes. Handles. Okay. Yeah, the handles, the knobs. I just like levers. So, hey, if you're a knob guy, you've got the 2 little twiddly knobs and you like to do that, fantastic. People have written in and told me that I'm an idiot because you don't need to turn the knobs, you just turn them a bit and then you get it to the right point and it's just half a turn, turns it on and off. Okay, but for me, if a knob is already on a bit, something's wrong. I'm a little bit OCD. That knob needs to be all the way off. That's the only way it's not going to blow up, okay? So the idea that, no, I can turn the knob a little bit and then get it to the point where it's not on, but it's on at half a turn, I can understand, but it's fundamentally against my religion. That knob needs to be all the way off. And then when I want it on, I need to turn it 3 times to get it all to come on. It's just, why do they have that? Why don't they just have a knob or a button? I don't, who likes that? Some people do, I guess. So it's all sorts, but I don't like the knobs. I didn't have a choice to not get the knob. but I would have liked a lever. So these are the things that I like and I don't like about the machine. Here's the question. Would I buy one again? Well, of course not, because, I've had this now. So I'd think the grass is greener on the other side and get something different. But taking all of that kind of mentality out of it, do I think it's good value for money? Do I think if I hadn't owned one, but I knew about this and I watched my video and I thought Nick's a great guy, he's telling it like it is, would I get one? I probably would. There's a pretty good chance that I would. I mean, a couple of years have gone past and there's new machines out there. So there's sort of, it's tempting. It's always tempting to get the newer thing. But for the money and for what it is, it's a pretty good machine. The one last thing I would say, though, that would make me think about getting a different machine for the same sort of money, potentially. No, I don't know if I could get it for the same money. That's the problem. But the thing is that the design of where I live and the house and everything has gone a lot more contemporary. And so the Rocket, even though it's a nice design, it's still that kind of traditional design. And I would probably want something a little bit more contemporary if I could. But that's a design question. In terms of if you like the design of this machine, for the money, there's, it ticks a lot of boxes. I wouldn't say to somebody, don't get it. But I would say to somebody, make sure you've got the support network close to you, because there are little niggles that you have, or I've certainly had with it. But that wouldn't stop me from buying another one again, I guess, because there's a lot of support here in the UK, and I think around a lot of different countries, there's a lot of support for the Rocket. As long as you've got a good guy who comes and does maintenance and stuff, he can be an independent as well. So that can be always an option. Doesn't have to be through the Rocket approved sort of supply network or anything. But overall, it is a good machine. I don't have any regrets over buying it. It makes great coffee. I'm very happy with the coffee I get out of it. Of course, I want more, but that's a bit of a selfish first world kind of problem to have. In actual fact, there's nothing wrong with the machine. Probably a little bit of QA improvements that need to be made, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed. Sitting through my rambling, whatever it was, 7 things I liked, and what was it, 7.5 things I liked, and 5 things that I wasn't so keen on. If you have a Rocket, did I miss anything? Do leave me a comment. Do you think that my observations were valid? I'd like to hear that as well. Really like the conversations that we have around machines. Kind of want to talk a little bit more about machines going forward. I just got to have something interesting to talk about. I just want to have, now I'll do that for another video. I really want to get in and talking about a few machines that came out last year that I haven't had a chance to play with yet. But that's it for this week. I will catch up with you on the next one.